Hello and welcome to the Generals Reviews. I'm Chris McLeod, aka Diagnostic80 from the Full Force podcast, and I'm joining Justin Bell from What's on Joe Mind and GeneralsJoes to bring you this review of the Vitruvian HACKS Underworld Warrior, Leonidas, and Stonefist the Gorgon Hunter from Boss Fight Studio. Before Justin reviews the figures, let's delve into the look of the characters and their backstories. Not to be confused with the Undead Warrior, which we looked at in the Eternal Struggle video, the Underworld Warrior is another servant of the god Hades. In this boss fight backstory, they say that the cursed warriors turned to stone by Medusa and her Gorgon horde have been infused with mystical fire, creating a servant to help in the fight against, well, everyone it seems. Hades has quite a lot of help now, with a number of characters coming to his aid. The figure is spectacular again, as if you hadn't guessed, and the paint job is really where it shines. The molten cracks all over the largely stone-painted character are executed perfectly, and it's all topped off with an orange plume on top of his helmet. Whee! The shield also has the same pattern and makes for a very good-looking figure indeed. Here is Justin with a closer look at the figure.
Thank you very much for joining me. I'm Justin from GeneralsJoes.com, and I am getting close to the end of my reviews for the second installment of the Kickstarter shipments for Vitruvian HACKS. I haven't even touched on the exclusives yet, or the skeletons, for crying out loud. I'll be locked in my basement recording for months. Chris, let me out, I'm hungry! Feels like I've been down here forever just looking at these Vitruvian HACKS figures, which you would think would make me somewhat sick of them, but just the opposite is true. I don't know if maybe they lace these things with opium or something. The more I play with them, the more I want to play with them, and it's just kind of an addictive quality. I don't know, maybe I should get this analyzed by the lab or something. The Underworld Warrior is billed as the magical, reanimated, cursed Spartan. So as you can see, I'm looking at the Underworld Warrior, who is, I believe, a Wave 2 figure. Very similar to the Wave 1 Cursed Spartan, which was essentially a stone statue version of the Spartan Warrior. The Cursed Spartan, according to his bio card, was actually a reanimated, or the Underworld Warrior was a reanimated Cursed Spartan. You know, Hades, the god of the underworld, floated up to the surface and actually imbued some of those cursed Spartans with magical fire, which turned them into actual living soldiers, which is essentially what this Underworld Warrior is. He is a servant of Hades, and Hades has quite a few servants now going on in the Vitruvian HACKS line, which is cool with me. I kind of like the whole Hades storyline. You can see this really cool kind of lava coursing through the shield there, as well as through, it's on his body, as well as his armor. It's pretty much everywhere. He looks really cool. He's got this kind of underlying stone texture, but the flowing lava through it makes him look even more kind of sinister and possessed. He's got another one of these stone spears that are all over the place. He's got the sword that I just made him drop. Unfortunately, he's got that shield I made him drop. I'm making everything drop, but when you've been touching ABS plastic for a month straight, you start seeing double, and simple tasks become unnecessarily complicated. But anyway, he has got this Myrmidon helmet with a little etching there, which is interesting. You can take the helmet off, and he's got that bald head underneath, which also has kind of the flaming Hades fire going through it. Hades fire, that's be a good band name. Ladies and gentlemen, Hades fire! Yeah. Sorry. No excuse for that. But anyway, here, this is basically what you're getting. He's got the Spartan armor here. He's got the Spartan leg armor. He's got a nice sheath with sword that's removable. It doesn't actually make that sound. That was embellishment. Shame on me. I'm sorry. But yeah, it'd be pretty cool. Boss Fight Studio needs to look into making some sound effect figures for no other reason than to make me happy. But then again, the more sound effects that they make in their figures, the less you have to actually listen to me talk, so that might be better for everybody. But anyway, here is the Underworld Warrior, a very cool figure from Wave 2. Not my favorite figure of the line. He's kind of bland. He's very dark gray. The magma deco is interesting, and I like the idea of the reanimated cursed Spartan statue. I don't like it enough to, stock up on these bad boys or anything, but it's a cool look. The Boss Fight Studio is a unique way of taking what could be a generic figure and adding some really interesting deco and colors to it to make him stand out a little bit more. So that's your Underworld Warrior, a very neat addition to your Vitruvian HACKS roster. Again, not necessarily top of my favorites list, but he's pretty darn cool. And you got to watch out where you take him, because he has a tendency to drop little bits of himself everywhere. The paint does flake a little bit. I don't know what's up with that. I can't see it coming off of him anywhere, but yeah, I mean, he definitely kind of, there's some flakage going on. And then we have another figure in the carded series. It's from Wave 3, a character people are probably very familiar with. This is Sparta! Yeah. I've been waiting to do that for like 18 videos. I hope you appreciate that. I did that on the first take. Can you believe that shit? This is Leonidas.
Leonidas was the warrior king of the Greek city-state of Sparta. He led the Spartans during the Second Persian War and died famously at the Battle of Thermopylae in 480 BC. Played by Gerard Butler in the film 300, the film took some liberties with the actual story and was actually based on the graphic novel by Frank Miller, but it looked freaking cool, so who cares, right? As a figure, he is pretty much standard issue with what we have seen so far, but that doesn't mean he isn't an awesome toy. He is basically a repainted Spartan with the ultimate Spartan's head, or vice versa depending on how you look at it. Take it away, Mr. Bell.
Who was made famous by the movie 300, the film that Zack Snyder made based on a comic book that doesn't suck. Just about the only one of those that's out there. And he comes with all these weapons. I'm kind of slowly pulling out all this gear. He's got this shield, the same shield that came with the Spartan Warrior. He's got swords coming out of various places. He's got this sword in this hand. He's got this sword in this hand. He's got this sword in this sheath. He's got a fourth sword that he doesn't even have a place to hold. I guess he could slide it through that little strap on his back. There you go. Now he's ready to come at you. Come at me, bro. Come at me. Imagine, he comes with a spear. I haven't seen one of these before. That's a lie. I'm just kidding, boss fight. I love the spear. And the shield, which we already looked at. But Leonidas, in all seriousness, is a great figure. They obviously tied him in to look similar to the Spartans. He's got the same armor, same torso armor, same skirt, same leg armor, same helmet. They differentiated a little bit by adding a lot of little black trim, which actually looks really good. You got this little black stripes. We call him the Zebra Spartan. And he's got the black underskirt there, which is really nice. And he's got, of course, the new head sculpt, or normally it would be a new head sculpt. It's not quite so new to us now because that Ultimate Spartan figure from the New Jersey Collectors Convention came out with this head sculpt already, which, so it's interesting because you'd think Leonidas would be really unique, but now he's got a couple of, where he's got, one Ultimate Spartan Warrior who has a similar looking head. But when they've got the helmets on, one bearded guy looks like another, so not a big deal. You hear that, Andrew? I said one bearded guy looks like another. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. And there we go. And there's the back of him. Can you tell that I've recorded many of these videos all in one night, and as I'm reaching the end here, it's getting into the early stages of the morning, and I've completely and totally lost my mind. But there's Leonidas. The base figure is fantastic, as they all are pretty much. And I really like the subtle tweaks to his armor to make him stand out a little bit compared to the regular Spartans. Really tight joints. There's his excellent sheath with his little short sword. He's got the sandaled feet. He is just a really incredibly nice, all-around, very solid figure. One that they did quite nicely. He's obviously mostly Spartan Warrior, but the small additions they made in deco and weapons really give him a much more intriguing quality and make him kind of both enhance the Spartan army that's forming and make it, kind of add to it and also enhance it. So he's a great figure and one that I think most everybody's going to end up with in their display. And in fact, over at bossfightshop.com, he is currently listed as sold out. I'm hoping they will get more of him because Leonidas, obviously, thanks to Gerard Butler and Zack Snyder, has become, the face of Sparta, so to speak. And it would be a shame if more people couldn't get a chance to add him to their Vitruvian HACKS army. I have a feeling he's going to play a role throughout the story, so it's a good character to kind of have. If you read his bio card, it's pretty specific that his death in that last battle of Thermopylae, they never recovered a body or what have you. So who knows what could be going on here? But anyway, he's a great figure. Definitely deserves a place in your collection. And we will cover the man next.
Finally, we have Stonefist, a character very close to Justin Bell's heart, as it was his idea in character development that brought this particular figure to life. Whilst in the mists of being turned to stone, he blinded himself in an attempt to halt the process. And it worked. Kind of. He couldn't stop the process before his left arm became stone, but his other senses were raised to godlike levels, and now he hunts Gorgons like a boss. The idea is fantastic and truly inspired, and really brings another level to this toy line. He is basically a repainted Athenian warrior with Myrmidon leg armour and a few other cool details. The Athenian helmet has a cool open mouth tampo on it, and the shield has the eyes scratched out. The head sculpt has red scars across the eyes, and his left arm has the stone effect from halfway down the bicep all the way to the hand. So much awesome in this figure, and one of my personal favourites from the line. Well done boss fight, and in this case Justin Bell, who has the actual review for us now.
Okay, I feel like there should be, angelic music or some kind of singing or something to indicate just how excited I am to be doing a review of this particular character. But anyway, this is Stonefist. For anyone who hasn't heard the story yet, I'm privileged enough to call the folks running Boss Fight Studio friends of mine. I've known many of them for over a decade, and I'm so happy for them and their success, as you can tell with these videos, as I exude praise upon these toys. I swear I'm being at least somewhat impartial, but they are friends of mine. I am very happy that they're doing well, but I'm also very happy that they have made some badass toys. I mean, they can be friends of mine and have made horrible toys, but they happen to be friends of mine and have made some really amazing toys. So I'm happy in two different fronts, but I'm also amazingly fortunate enough to be working alongside them on some of their web-based endeavors, their website and their web store. And I was involved in some conversations leading up to the launch of Vitruvian HACKS, and one of those conversations resulted in the creation of Stonefist, a character idea that I pitched to them, the idea of somebody who had been partially cursed, but not completely cursed, and then was swearing vengeance upon the Gorgon who cursed him. So that was kind of a very low-level pitch that I made. They ended up doing some amazing things with it. They took that little small, tiny bit of an idea and completely built this awesome new character who is obviously some sort of Athenian. He's got the same Athenian armor with the colors, although he's got a blue underneath there. He's got the Athenian helmet with some really nice deco, crazy deco on the face right there and there. He's got that Athenian shield with the barbarian face that I had mentioned before. He's got those little etched out eyes, which tie into his storyline, which is essentially he was fighting Medusa, and Medusa started turning him to stone. So to prevent himself from completely turning to stone, he actually carved out his own eyes, which is pretty gross, but that's what he did. And you can kind of look at his face and see he's got a little bit of a scar, painted scar there. I mean, obviously they were looking for figures that they wouldn't have to do a whole lot of new tooling for, so they kind of painted up some scars, which still look really good. And you can kind of see his arm has been partially turned to stone, and for whatever reason, when he carved out his eyes, during the process of becoming cursed, some enchantment took place, because I guess when part of the mythology is when Medusa curses these people and turns them to stone, they don't die inside. They actually are still alive, and as an extra curse, their senses actually become enhanced. So while they are stone, they can see and hear and feel better than normal human beings can. So it's like a double punishment, because they have much more developed senses, but because they are mobilized by stone, it's complete torture that they can't actually move or do anything. So Stonefist kind of got partially cursed, so he started getting those enhanced senses. Then he carved out his eyes, made himself blind. but because of those enhanced senses, he can, hear and feel and all that stuff much better than a normal person can. So it's really a kind of a cool idea where we've got this guy who's dedicated to killing every single Gorgon that's out there, but he's got some kind of superpowers too, as well as having this articulated stone arm, which you can use to beat the snot out of Gorgons with. There's a nice touch when they decoed the shield. They decoed it so it could actually be held. Most shields are decoed to be held in the left hand. This one was actually decoed to be held in the right hand because it doesn't really make sense for him to carry a shield on his stone arm. This stone arm is already, pretty much impenetrable. He doesn't need a shield on that arm. So they decoed it to go onto this arm, which is a pretty cool twist. That's the kind of thought process that good toy designers have, which is really, really neat. And as I mentioned, he's got the Athenian armor, so he's got this little slot on the back for a sword, or the spear if you want the spear to go in there. He's got a nice bald head. I believe it's the same bald head that the blanks come with, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But I think that's the same head. Really nicely articulated, comes with a bunch of great weapons, the spear, the sword, the helmet I already mentioned. He's got this other sword. This is probably one of my favorite swords that they make. I like this one, and I like the really long one too, with a wide handle. Those are all great weapons. But there's the sheath with another sword inside there, short sword. Take the sheath off, and you can kind of see Stonefist in all of his glory. He's a really nice, obviously he's a solid figure because all of them pretty much are. They're very posable, very durable, and my favorite part is no doubt kind of the combination decoed stone arm, scarred face. It makes him look really, really unique, which is cool. It's tough to look totally distinct when the line is, kind of the same basic figures. It's the same issue that, the G.I. Joe Collectors Club struggles with a little bit, where you only have so many parts you can use. And the trick is, how do you take those same parts and really create a diverse and varied line from it? And it's something that the Collectors Club struggles with sometimes, and something that any company would struggle with sometimes. And Boss Fight Studios managed to do a pretty good job kind of overcoming those tooling limitations and getting some good mileage out of your figures. And anyway, so Stonefist I can't really say exactly how I feel about having a character I had some very small part in creating actually come to life. I've been a toy collector for, I don't know if you can call me being a toy collector when I was 8 years old, but, I distinctly remember buying action figures for the first time when I was about 7 or 8 years old, way back in 1981, 82. And so I've been a huge fanatic for action figures and for toys in general since then. I mean, I essentially have never stopped. I've got a lot of friends that will say, yeah, I discovered women in high school or junior high or whatever and kind of got out of toys. And I kind of discovered girls too at the same time, but I managed to somehow, by some stroke of amazing luck, I don't know, or maybe pure talent, I managed to balance that with toys and still appreciate them both rather than sacrificing one for the other. And I'm now married with 2 kids, so obviously I did something right. But anyway, this has been a long desire of mine to have some kind of character that I developed be an action figure, and it's happened with thanks to the guys from Boss Fight Studio, and I can't thank them enough for the opportunity to get my idea out there in collectors' hands, and the fact that they made it such a cool character with Stonefist is only all the much better. But it's been a long road to get to this point. I think all of us watching and everybody with Boss Fight Studio would agree. It feels like it's been beyond a lifetime since the launch of the Kickstarter. But the results that we've all gotten with these figures, specifically with the second shipment of Kickstarter, almost makes the wait completely and totally worth it. Each figure is an astonishing accomplishment in articulation, customizability, and with such an eye towards paint deco and spectacular toy design. As an emerging brand and a new property, the Vitruvian HACKS almost feels like a landscape shift, and I cannot wait to see this line continue to develop as the years go on. It's really kind of set a new landmark, if you ask me, in the world of independent toy production, and something that I hope many other designers strive to match and to duplicate, because what they've done, just with the sheer volume of product that they've produced here. They became, at the time, they were the #1 action figure Kickstarter ever. I believe they are now #2. I think the Four Horsemen Mythic Legions did pass them by a little bit. But essentially, this is, with the blanks, with the skeletons, with these figures, with the exclusives, you're talking about a roster of over 50 figures, or around 50 figures, that they had to, produce, basically conceive of, produce, and get out to market. And yes, it took a little bit longer than anticipated, but, with the volume of figures we got out of it, I can't help but be way beyond impressed. And with MegaCon just happening and seeing some of the new stuff planned, the 4th series was revealed, being pirates, looks like pirates and mer people of some kind. It's just a fantastic time to be a toy fan. These action figures are terrific. They're really making me love Greek mythology again. And I'm so happy for the folks at Boss Fight Studios for their success. And I'm really excited that these carded figure reviews are now being wrapped up so I can actually play with these damn things and have fun with them rather than archiving them and covering them and writing about them. So that is our look at the carded Vitruvian HACKS action figure line. Thank you very much for watching as always. If you liked what you saw, please give the video a like. Consider subscribing. If you didn't like what you saw, leave me a line in the comments below. Tell me what I can do to improve. Tell me to screw off. Do whatever you want to do. Whether or not I listen to you is up to me, of course. But thanks very much, and thanks to Chris from the Full Force Podcast for all the work he does to get these things up and ready. He makes me sound far better than I really am. Makes these figures look even better than they are, if that is even possible. I don't think that's possible. So it's a great line of figures, one I am extremely excited to be playing a very small part in. And I can't wait to see more. More is definitely on the way, so head over to bossfightshop.com and check them out. Check out VitruvianFacts.com and see the online archive with all these figures listed. Have fun, enjoy, and I will talk to you later.
Thanks for watching this review by Justin Bell of GeneralsJoes.com and What's on Joe Mind, and for myself, Chris McLeod, aka Diagnostic80 from the Full Force. If you've enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and let us know what you think on any of our numerous social networking platforms. Goodbye, and see you next time for another Generals review.